Section 230 is not a gift to big tech. Suffice to say, like the First Amendment, it's a gift to people, to citizens, to users of the internet. It gives users and average people power online. It lets users, aka the public, speak freely online without the threat of mass censorship or having to go through institutional gatekeepers. That is literally, by the way, why all of these powerful people on both sides of the political aisle hate it so much. Like, hello. The first test came in 1997. Section 230 was still really, really new. And as the internet was expanding, nobody really knew how the courts would interpret the nuances of it. This man named Kenneth Zeran lived in Seattle and he ran a small business. 6 days after the Oklahoma City bombing, someone started posting fake advertisements on an AOL bulletin board using Zeran's name and phone number. The ads were for t-shirts with slogans that were celebrating the Oklahoma City bombing. Zeran wasn't actually selling these t-shirts, he was being trolled, and he immediately started getting death threats. He contacted AOL repeatedly asking them, please take down these advertisements. I'm not actually selling these offensive t-shirts. But AOL was very slow to act. He acknowledged that it was like a bookstore or a library, but he argued that because this bookstore or library AOL had knowledge of the harmful content that they were publishing, they should be liable for that harmful content. If a bookstore owner was specifically told that a book that they were carrying was defamatory to someone and they kept selling that book, could the person hold the bookstore liable? AOL actually knew about these posts harassing Zeran because Zeran kept telling them about it, and he argued that they weren't working fast enough to fix the problem. The case went to the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, and Judge Harvey Wilkinson, a Reagan appointee with a very strong record on free speech, wrote the opinion. He rejected Zeran's argument and ruled that Section 230 eliminated both publisher liability and distributor liability. So essentially, if someone called up a bookstore and said, hey, this book is defaming me, it's a bad book, it's causing me emotional harm, that bookstore shouldn't be held liable for the content in that book. The author of the book should be held liable. The Supreme Court declined to hear Zeran's appeal, and his case became foundational. The Zeran decision allowed the internet to grow into what it is today, because without that ruling, every single website with user-generated content would face the same impossible choice that Prodigy faced before Section 230 existed. The ruling in Zeran v. AOL that upheld Section 230 ultimately actually protected the very people most harmed by online abuse. By refusing to impose notice-based liability on intermediaries like AOL, the court actually avoided creating a system where platforms would become legally punished for knowing too much. It would just be ignorance or over censorship or basically shutting down user speech altogether.